All right, let's begin. How's it going, guys? Welcome to another event with Calyptus. Don't know who we are. We are Web3's gamified hiring platform. We help crypto professionals upskill and land their dream job in Web3. Now, this call is all in the good spirits of Christmas. It's all about positivity, career positivity, celebrating the wins, not just crypto prices, although Bitcoin's now back up to 100K, which I'm sure everyone's relieved about. For Calyptus, we've got lots to be thankful for this month. You know, we had 25,000 new users join in the last 30 days. That's the whole of January and September combined. So, you know, thank you guys for, joining the community and believing in our platform. We've just launched an onboarding process for you guys, which is now 5 times faster. So it's all AI automated, so jump right in. And also loads of awesome new jobs from crypto.com to Chainlink to Circle. So yeah, fresh jobs for you guys to check out. But what we're really here for is Uttam. Now, last week, what caught my eye on LinkedIn is that I saw that Uttam had got a new job at Alchemy, and that, you know, in the space of about 3 years, he'd gone from a technical blockchain writer intern to getting to work at one of the top infrastructure companies in the industry. And so we really wanted to try and figure out if he would tell us his positive career story and share his lessons, you know, the biggest failures, the most pivotal moments, and share it with the community, because we're all trying to get to where we want to be in Web3. After a few short messages, and 7 days later, we're here. You know, I can't wait to get going, hear more about your story, Uttam. It's been awesome to witness. And guys, if you have any questions at all, please chuck them in the chat, and we will get to them. But without further ado, Uttam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Dan. Hey, thank you so much, Dan, for inviting me. Hey, everyone. Really glad to be here. I mean, I've been following Calyptus work for a while now. You guys have been doing great job. So yeah, thanks for inviting, and I'm really happy to be here and answer. If anybody has any questions, definitely let me know in the comment section as well. I think, yeah, we can start.
Brilliant. Let's get going. I mean, Uttam, you're not camera shy, are you? I know you've got a pretty strong YouTube following.
Not pretty strong, but yeah, I mean, I always try to make sure that I blunt down all the technical concepts in an easy way for people who are like new to Web3, right? I mean, hey, we just only have 25,000 developers, Web3 developers, and there are millions out there. So we got a lot of people to come in and, build in Web3. So we got a lot of people. I just create content to onboard these new developers.
Oh yeah, and teaching is one of the best parts of being a DevRel. So it makes a lot of sense. I mean, let's get into it. Let's hear the story, Sam. You know, what is your story to Web3? We've had some people who have been ship captains, literally ship captains, and become, builders. People who have been dentists and surgeons. You know, what's your story? How did you get here?
Oh, I wasn't. I mean, this is not like a super cool story, but I think so. My journey specifically started at like working at a Web2 company. So I was like, doing a few internships here and there as a software engineer in Web2 companies, right? And then, as you mentioned, that there was some company who was like, getting into blockchain, and they were like looking for someone, right? And me back in the time, back in the last bull run, now the next bull run is starting. Like, and in the last bull run, I was like, okay, crypto is something amazing, and it's basically a hedge for people who are in the third world country to like get out of the inflation and stuff, right? So it was pretty interesting to me, and coming from a technical background, I was pretty much interested how this works, so that got my attention. And then I jumped into crypto and then understand how blockchain works, what it is and how it is, right? And then I joined that technical writing thing. I left my job, like the other stuff what I was doing. I was like, hey, I really want to do this full time. At least I want to try this, right? And then I went full into it. And then closely, actually, I was working on like the Polygon project. I was actually researching about Polygon in my job, right? And then after a few months, I reached out to Polygon that, hey, I'm really interested in your protocol. I've mastered it. I know everything about you guys. Do you guys are hiring or something? And then eventually, they were hiring, and then there was a blockchain engineer position available. So I gave that interview, and then boom, I got selected. Then I joined Polygon, right? I joined Polygon as like a blockchain engineer. And then internally, after 6 to 7 months, after contributing to the core protocol, I was like, okay, DevRel is kind of new, and it's a very good role. I was really wanted to try, and I was really into like teaching people, and being a speaker out there and maintaining relationships with people, specifically, being technical as well, right? And DevRel was that role, so I shifted myself to DevRel internally at Polygon. And then after working there as well, I left Polygon to pursue my research from Canada, which was also a blockchain based project. So I went like, it was basically sponsored by the government of Canada. So I spent like 3 to 4 months in Canada working under a university professor to do my research. And then I came back, and then again I wanted to like join DevRel, and then again teach people. So then I joined Flare. So I worked at Flare again for a DevRel as a senior DevRel for like 2 years. And then after like last month or so, Alchemy was hiring, and Alchemy has like really great project, and they also have onboarded like thousands of developers through Alchemy University. So if you're a new developer, check out Alchemy University. There's a lot of great content for people to get started with Web3, and to onboard you guys to Web3. So yeah, I mean, Alchemy is definitely a dream company for anyone, especially specifically as a DevRel, because they do a hell ton of awesome work. So yeah, then I joined Alchemy, and then yeah, here I am. There were definitely bunch of bits and also if and buts, right? But I think in the later part of this call, we will definitely take this on. I will discuss if there was any changing moment in my life, or something that helped me. But yeah, here is my small story.
Definitely. And some of the Web3 OG DevRels have come out of Alchemy, like
Yeah.
Vito was one of my first ever influencers that I was ever following up. Vito came out of Alchemy. So no, it's an awesome place to be a DevRel. The university is brilliant. So much stuff to learn there. It also feeds in nicely to the kind of infrastructure you guys are able to provide. But yeah, I mean, it's funny how you just left your job in Web2, did exactly the same thing. I was in asset management, hated it, befriended the tech lead there, introduced me to Ethereum, and I just quit. Like it kind of just like a snap decision that often just happens in this industry. And also when you're talking about researching Polygon and then just applying, like if you speak to any of the Solana Foundation team, half the guys literally they just did work on the protocol or part of the community. And then they said, hey, I've been contributing for a while. They got noticed, and then they got their job. Like it's such a classic, easy thing to do. It's very simple when you really think about it, but not many people do it. So it's brilliant that you were able to use that research and that proof of passion to then jump into Polygon and actually land that job, because that was a pivotal moment, I imagine. But yeah, I mean, what did you learn early on in your career that helped propel you, I suppose, to get to those next levels, getting to Polygon, Flare, Alchemy?
I think being curious and getting obsessed with a single thing has definitely helped me around, right? So, I mean, I always believe that we have a small life, right? So, I mean, if you really want to be successful in doing anything, you really have to get obsessed with anything, right? So in my life, it was blockchain and it was crypto. I was like, hey, I'm really obsessed with it. I really want to master it all, right? So I think that curiosity, I mean, it could be anything for anyone. Like maybe it is AI for anyone, like maybe it's just a database for anyone, right? Maybe it's data for anyone, right? Sometimes some people are interested in cricket, right, or football, right? So someone, that curiosity has always helped me, right? And the other thing I would say, that early in my career, I thought that I am pretty much technical and trying to understand everything, right? Because in the hype, it happens that you don't understand everything. right? And then you just skip the basics and you just get into it, and then start doing stuff. But I think making sure that your basics are clear is also very important. Making sure that the foundation is very strong. If the foundation is not going to be strong, then the building is going to collapse, right? So you have to make sure that your foundation is very strong, right? So I think that has helped me early in my career, right? Other few things that I would say has also helped me is making sure that I am pretty much aware of what's happening out there, right? So even if it's participating in hackathons, making sure that you are following whatever is happening in this industry, right? And making sure that you are following all the new updates. What Ethereum is, what Ethereum hard fork upgrade is coming next. Okay, there is a new Solidity tool. Okay, we should try this. Okay, and then also being in touch with more and more people, and talking to them has also helped me. So I would say it's part bit of a networking and bit, right? That is also very important and has helped me a lot. And the other few things is like, you don't really need to be in like attend every conferences out there. Obviously conferences are good to meet people in real life, but there is Twitter, right? So Twitter has like it can get you wherever you can't go and you can't travel, right? You can literally DM people, right? And in crypto the culture is so great that even if you DM a co-founder, he is going to reply if it makes sense, if it's a good question, right? So I think being active on Twitter out there, and sharing what you have learned, and reaching out to people, following what happened, has also helped me a lot. Yeah, so these are like the few things that have helped me early in my career, which I wanted to share. But again, hey, everyone has a different story. Everyone has some different learning. So yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, being curious typically is
Mhm.
because you are passionate about something, or it's tweaking something in your brain that is intriguing you. And typically when you become passionate or interested in something, you can remember it more, and you can teach it, and you can get immersed in it. And if you have that feeling about a certain topic, and you're willing to go down the rabbit hole, as everyone talks about in crypto, follow those rabbit holes and make the most of it, because typically those are the things that you're passionate about and you can really excel at, because you're willing to know so much about that certain thing. And you can't know everything in crypto, genuinely. Like, focus on ZKs and become a specialist in that area. But follow that and be curious, I think, is a really important thing.
Yeah.
Staying up to date, definitely. I mean, this industry moves so quickly.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Why we built Calyptus in the first place. Like, if you take just 6 months out of Solidity or building on Rust or any kind of layer one, like you're already behind, man. So staying up to date is super important.
Yeah.
When you were mentioning about foundations there, what would you
Mhm.
say are foundations? Do you think that your computer science degree was something that really laid the foundations? Not to say that path is always 100% thing. Like, Nader Dabit became a top DevRel at the age of 30, and he started coding at 30. So
Yeah.
what were the foundations for you?
I think specifically for me, my foundation was, I wouldn't say like degree helped me a lot. Obviously, getting in all those classes, you remember a few stuff about software technology, but I wouldn't say if I didn't do that, it would be hard for me and too much hard for me, right? So I don't think the degree was too much important, right? But I think making sure that the technical concepts are clear. Okay, how Bitcoin works. Okay, how Ethereum works. What are the changes between them? Okay, right? And what is MEV and all that stuff, how the transaction works and all the transaction goes through Ethereum and everything, right? So being technical and how this code works. Okay, how this smart contract actually gets deployed on the blockchain itself. Okay, it turns into bytecode, and then opcode, and then everything, right? So being curious about what exactly is happening under the hood has helped me. So I think it's not just about, there isn't just a roadmap that you can follow to be there, right? So when I say clear your basics, is mean that whatever you are reading, whatever you are working on, whatever you're doing, even in your company or building your side project, make sure that you know everything about it. Okay, so even if I wake you up at night that, hey, what it is, you should know that because you understood it, right? You're not just trying to just make it work. You actually understood it, right? So I think these basics should be clear, and eventually, when you work hard, when you know the things will go good for you.
I think it's actually a relief for a lot of people who think that they have to have a really good education. And this is something that Web3 is just tremendous at. Like if you look at the employers on our platform, it's barely something that they consider really. Like they want to see that you've built certain stuff or GitHub, or you're building in public and you're just interested and passionate. And when that stuff shines through, it supersedes anything that you had a certain education, a certain thing. It's because you don't learn this stuff at university, so if you can prove those things, it really does go beyond just having a good education, and really it's just getting that experience, getting your foot on the ladder, and going from there.
Definitely. I mean, there is no specific, courses for blockchain and crypto as of now. Obviously, they are coming soon. But yeah, as you said, there is no age, age thing, and anybody can work. I've seen 70 and over people making like billions of dollars and millions of dollars getting paid from companies just because they talent and they know stuff, right? And you can literally work from anywhere, Vietnam and India, and from wherever you are, right? It doesn't specific have to be, and you don't have to be in US now, right? In this Web3 economy, you can be anywhere, you can build from anywhere. So yeah,
definitely. It's very, very true. You can build from anywhere in this industry. Our team is completely global. UK, Eastern Europe, India, Kenya, and we love our team. It doesn't matter where you are. We get stuff done. Yes, it's a great part of the industry. Apart from the industry, what for you? Like, why DevRel? Why was DevRel your path?
Interesting. So as I said, that after working in half of the year in like being a blockchain engineer, I was like, one of the things was that I was really into teaching. I was like, hey, I really want to teach people about this technology. And I personally thought that the technology, which was blockchain, and back in 2021, which wasn't like, there were literally no resources to learn about Web3 development. It was just literally Solidity docs to, start working on smart contracts. I was like, I really want to get into education and onboard more developers, get more developers into Web3, teach technical concept to these people. And I think DevRel was that one role, right? So I think that was one of the main reasons. Other reasons were that I was also like into like talking to people and then understanding their needs, what they really want, being in touch with developers, like being their buddy and being their best friend, and going to like hackathons and stuff, and help them with whatever needs they help, and getting it back to the company and telling that, hey, this is what developers need and this is what we need to build, right? I think that also that relationship with developers, liking of that, I think that was also one of the main reasons for me. But you never know how these things are, right? Maybe I'm doing DevRel for next 3 years, then again there will be a new shiny thing and I will move on. But I think to be honest, after working in 3 or 4 years in Web3, my personal take is that title doesn't matter anymore, right? Eventually, you all become just a guy who was just, getting into it, and then just trying to learn everything, and, just trying to be a coder, trying to be like, a trader as well, and understanding what is happening in the industry. So you just get on and learn everything. And I think DevRel was that role. It's like being a co-founder, to be honest. You literally have to do everything, like literally everything, from marketing to coding to just working with product engineers. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those magnificent roles where you're able to, if you have the soft skills, but you also have the technical interests that you can like go on both sides. And I think that's very, very powerful as roles go. And there aren't actually loads of DevRel roles out there, so they almost become quite rare. Ruta just got a great question here, kind of feeds into this. What are the current hiring trends in Web3? Can you share some insights?
Ooh, okay.
I mean, from our side, what's been very interesting, and what you guys should investigate is go to our website, cliptus.co, and then head to the bottom, and you'll find a page called salaries. we publish every quarter salary reports. So you can see what skills are being requested for certain roles, average salaries across the board. I think if I was to just pull out one of the key insights that I found super interesting from the last one was globally remote roles are now equal or higher in terms of salary expectation versus like US roles. And what I mean by that is employers are willing to spend the money no matter where you are in the world. You could be in Asia, the US, in Europe. They're willing to spend the money on the best talent, as opposed to we're just going to spend the money because you're based in the US and whatever. They're willing to spend the money no matter where you are to get the best talent. And I think that's a really great trend that's happening in Web3 right now, that we have this point where true distributed workforces are appearing, and you'll get paid not because of your geography, you're going to get paid because of your skill. But I don't know if you had any insights here at all to share, Uttam. I don't know how much you are on the hiring side.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, right, it all matters. It all comes down to what you bring to the table. Hey, if you are a better engineer than someone who's sitting in SF, then Web3 companies will pay you to, get onboarded and work for them, and they will pay you much more than that engineer, right? So I think, I don't, as you said, that it's all digital and it doesn't matter where you're located. But I think in terms of like current hiring trends, I would say that on the tech side, companies are definitely looking for people who know Rust, right? So Rust is getting more and more normal in this industry, right? People are getting into it. And then again, ZK is again very hot, and I think 2025 will be like more and more ZK projects coming out, right? So I mean, ZK is kind of hot, so go and read out about ZK and trying to master that, right? A bunch of other things is like Ts are pretty much quite hot these days. You can check that out. And AI on-chain agents and AI x crypto is also kind of a boom that's coming in, right? So you can also look into that. And then I think current hiring trends, I would say always the smart contract development is always needed. So you can get into that. And I mean, if you want to be someone who has a different tech style and you want to be unique out there, then I think maybe start with Viper, right? Viper is getting more and more popular these days. Or alt VMs, like for example Move, or there's a few blockchain that just launched like today or yesterday they launched, right? So they have a separate specific language, and there's also Solana language like Rust and all, right? So maybe you can go into that side if you like want to bring a unique tech side and unique tech skills, right? But again, if you are just a beginner, I would say not to go jump directly into that. Just start with the basics and then just be clear and focus. I mean, first of all, the basic step is to make sure that your basics are clear, again, how everything works, and then choose a particular path like ZK or AI or whatever it is, whatever you're interested in, and then get into that. I'm pretty sure there are always jobs in every field. So yeah.
I mean, thank you for that, Hassan. That's brilliant. Let's actually feed on to our next question, which is from our Calyptus intern. Thank you, Shifu. What techniques work the best to get you a job in Web3?
Ooh, yeah, that's a really good question. I would say I would definitely start with being very vocal about what I know, right? Sometimes people undermine themselves even though they know a lot of stuff. They're like, oh, I don't know. And, they undermine themselves. But I think you shouldn't definitely not do that, right? Making sure whatever you are building, whatever you are, learning, making sure that you are sharing it on socials, whether it is Twitter or LinkedIn, right? I mean, whether you get reach or not, that's the second thing, right? But making sure that whatever you are learning, you are sharing it out in the public. That's one of the thing. Another thing is, like, as a developer, I think being contributing to open source projects is also best way to get your job. Okay, I mean, see, there are a lot of people who are eager to get jobs, and just having a CV isn't just going to help, right? You have to showcase that you are talented enough, right? So when you contribute to these open source projects, it showcase that you can actually go through code and you can contribute on your own, which actually shows that right? Anyone can lie on their resume, right? So I mean, open source contributing is that proof of work that you want to show it to companies, right? So as a developer, contributing to open source has definitely helped me, right? Other things is like, yeah, as a DevRel, I would say, creating awesome content on Twitter and actually creating something which is what people wanted. For example, I created this EVM course back in like 2 years back when there was not much resources. So I got views because people wanted that, right? So understanding people's need and then acting upon that is also kind of helpful, right? So it depends upon what kind of job you are targeting, right? If you're targeting specifically a marketing job, then understanding all that marketing gimmicks is very important, how the crypto Twitter works, and how the numbers go up and everything. So yeah, I mean, it depends upon what job are you targeting, but I think, yeah, these are the few days. If you're a dev, contribute to open source. If you are a marketing and a growth guy, making sure that you know all the Twitter gimmicks and stuff, right? And if you are like you want to target DevRel and stuff, then yeah, create awesome content. Again, contribute to open source projects, and then showcase that what you bring to the table.
Awesome answer. Yeah, I mean, cannot stress enough what it means to build in public. And we have a newsletter called Coffee with Ecliptus, which you were part of a few weeks back. And half the time, the advice, because the question 4 is always about what's your advice to the industry. Half the time, it's always just build in public. It's contribute to open source projects. And so it all comes down to putting yourself out there. And as you said, like, we're in a culture in Web3 of people who are very receptive, really, really receptive. They all want to help each other. And so being willing to create that content, ask things from people, build things together, so important to get where you want to be. And like you said, you don't even have to be the smartest or have the deepest knowledge of something. If you're putting it out there in the world and creating good content, people will watch and you'll get noticed, and that's really, really important. Did you ever feel like giving up when searching for a job in Web3, the troughs of looking for a job?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it happens with everyone. I don't think so. It's just for me. It happens with everyone, and but the great thing is that there are so many opportunities in this space. Still, it's been 3 to 4 years then since this space started moving, but still there are so many opportunities, right? So if I like feel up giving up on one thing, I was like, okay, I will do another thing. Okay, I will do another thing. I will do another thing, right? So I think there are so many opportunities in this space that it's endless, and then. Whenever I feel like giving up, I just move on to another thing, because obviously I have that flexibility. Maybe if you're not, if you're in the initial stages, you might not have that flexibility. But yeah, there are so many opportunities in this space that I never felt like giving up on the crypto and Web3 industry itself.
Yeah, it's true. Keep on moving. Don't get caught up in negative thoughts or think you're not good enough. Just keep on moving and keep on going. Yeah, don't get stagnant and don't worry about it, because everyone's been in that position. Man, during COVID, I couldn't get a job for like 3 or 4 months. Like, it just happens, and everyone's been there, and it ends up, that's how I built Calypsis in the first place. The co-founders, you end up building things that are more special, and they, everything's got a silver lining to it. Do you think the job space in Web3 is saturated?
Ooh, I don't think so. I mean, the space is still a bit small. I would agree with that. But I don't think so. It's saturated. I mean, if you find eventually a way to get into it and then like join a company, I don't think so. It's something that is much more difficult, right? So I wouldn't say it is saturated, but again, you have to find your way to get into a good company. And the thing is that as the space moves forward, there will be new companies, there will be new people, right? So the more jobs will be created. So yeah, I mean, I don't think so the space is saturated now. Maybe it was 3 to 4 years ago, or maybe 2 years ago, but not anymore.
Yeah, and this space, we've just had this massive boom, and it's the whiplash effect where things boom again. LPs are in venture capital funds invest more, VCs put more into the companies have more to spend on hiring. But also, you're just seeing a lot of companies now who are just revenue generating machines. Like, you have the likes of Circle, you have the likes of Pump.fun, you have all these companies now that are producing more and more and more jobs, and the ones that didn't, weren't growing or had product market fit, they die away. And so this space is getting more and more funding, especially now. I think the tide has changed a fair bit, and also we're figuring out more and more how the products become useful, and because of that, it attracts more investment, more revenue, more builders, more jobs. So yeah, it's all moving in the right direction. It is very competitive, that's for sure. It's very competitive, but I think 2025 is going to be very promising for an increase in jobs in this space.
Yeah, I mean, just to answer that, to continue with that question, 3 to 4 years ago, when even I joined, there were people like, "Oh, don't move into this space. This is a space that is going to be, closed in like a year or so. What are you going to do after that?" But I don't think so. That's an problem now, because you saw the U.S. elections, right? Trump literally took crypto people's support to win the election, right? That has never been done before in any election, right? So it is legal, and you've seen Bitcoin ETFs, Solana ETFs, Ethereum ETFs coming. So yeah, this space is here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Our intern's got some fantastic questions coming through. I had other questions planned, but we've just rattling off these ones. Coming from Web2, how did you learn while making that transition without getting overwhelmed with how fast-paced Web3 is?
Yeah, I totally get that point. I mean, the space moves very fast. Few advice that I would love to give is not to, first of all, focus on prices. Prices will go up and down, and this is always going to happen. So don't focus much on prices, right? And then don't try to get into narratives and this crypto Twitter politics, because what happens is there is a hype. Let's say there is a hype of like DPIN, there is a hype of LVMs or AI, whatever it is. That hype goes up and then it goes down in like 3 or 4 months. There was recently new hype of decentralized science, right? So the hype goes up and it comes down, right? So don't get too much into this hype that you are always chasing the new shiny thing in Web3, right? Make sure that you focus on like few stuff. For me, it was like, okay, I'm obsessed with like EVMs, how Ethereum virtual machine works, and then how you can build applications on blockchain, Ethereum blockchain, right? So I think that was one of the things that I got into it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on this. I'm not going to learn everything, right? What is MEV, what is account abstraction, whatever it is, right? I can do that later, but making sure that you are constantly focused on one thing is very important, right? And then the initial stages, obviously, once you reach and once you get to that level, you can obviously learn about everything, spend much more time, you will have much more flexibility. But in the initial stages, making sure that you are just totally heads down and focusing to a single thing. I don't want to say that it should be only EVM, it should be only Ethereum. You can go it and do it for Solana as well, right? I mean, you can do it for any other blockchain, but making sure that you are using the right thing moving forward. So yeah.
Yeah, bit by bit, and the rest will happen by osmosis. As you learn about a certain small thing, everything else will almost become the bigger jigsaw, will start to make sense anyway. But don't get overwhelmed by too much of the bigger picture. Start somewhere, and everything else will kind of align. Oh, this is great. I mean, this isn't even a question, but I think just a little bit of a shout out from David here. Thanks for making your videos, Uttam. I learned a lot about the EVM and account attraction through your videos. I've been working as a blockchain engineer for 2 years and will still reference your videos. Boom. That's what it's about. Love that. What would you say are your own personal traits and skills that have enabled you to become a DevRel? Is there something intrinsic, something that you've learned? Both.
So I think few of the skills was definitely understanding people needs, right? Understanding what people wants, making sure that you are, understanding human needs and understanding what people need, and making sure that you are trying to solve that problem. You're trying to help them. I think that's one of the traits that has helped me, specifically to become a good DevRel and eventually a good engineer, I would say, right? So that's one of the traits. Other traits that I would say is that I'm also very good at interacting with the companies and with the partners, like understanding what eventually partner wants and understanding what the company needs. Okay, you're working in a company. Okay, what's the company goals in like for the next 1 year or 2 year? What's or maybe the quarter itself, right? Understanding that needs and properly creating a strategy and working towards that goal, right? So I think and basically just heads down and focusing towards a goal and achieving that goal, I think, as also is one of the trait and skills that has helped me. Other thing I would say is content creation, right? So I think I mean, you don't need good camera or like $1,000 spending into a camera or a mic to get started with content creation. I literally had no mic and no good fancy camera to get started, right? So it was this, I understood and I did some research of what people want, what is lacking, and then I created content on that, right? And it got me views. If I would have been consistent, I'm definitely sure I would have got like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, but I wasn't like. But still, you don't need those thousands you don't need to spend thousands of bucks on new shiny camera or new mic to get started with content creation. You can just literally understand what people need and then create content on that, right? So yeah, I mean, that has also helped me, like the content creation part has helped me specifically in the DevRel field.
It's so true. Like every single week we launch a new feature and I'll spend, I don't know, £20 a month on Loom, and I'll just do Loom videos on our new features, and that's it. I just put it out on Twitter and LinkedIn. I went to school with KSI, so the content creator, and my friend remembers him at school literally telling him, "What do you want for Christmas?" He said, "I want to get a webcam." He started off as this nobody content creator with a webcam that he got for Christmas, and becomes, the inventor of Prime drinks and everything else that he's done, Boxing Day. So you can start small. Anyone can create content, and it's really powerful. It's about being consistent with it. What was the most pivotal thing, would you say, has happened in your career? What point was most pivotal?
I don't think so. There is only one specific point, and my life just changed. Boom! I would say it's a journey, and a lot of things has happened, right? And I'm really, thankful to the God for that. I mean, few of the moments that I would mention is definitely, getting to know about crypto and Web3, and getting into that and taking actions on that side has definitely helped me a lot. Getting that job in Polygon has also helped me. Like back in 2021 and 2020, like Polygon POS was like the best chain ever, right? I mean, Ethereum was definitely the slow one, and then Solana was moving on, but Polygon POS was the one that has, saved. I think I would say saved Ethereum, and it was like the layer 2 brand during that time, right? Right. So I mean, getting into Polygon was also definitely one of the big thing for me, and working along with like great people and great company in the early stage of your career is definitely something that someone should always get on, right? And I think after that, again joining at Flare, I mean, I would always suggest everyone to like join a startup, because there are so many things that you learn when you join a startup that you will never learn in a big company. Obviously, big company might pay you a bit more, high, but I think whatever you learn in a startup, it's just, it's just not comparable with anything, right? So getting into an early stage startup is also one of the moments that has, helped me grow in my career. And I think being able to travel with my job is also has helped me a lot. Okay, so I was going to New York, or I was going to Europe for ECC and ETH Denver conferences, or let's say DEF CON, where you literally meet the smartest minds in the world who are working to solve these problems, right? So when you go to DEF CON, you literally see Ethereum code builders who you can actually talk to, you can actually share your thoughts with, or whoever it is and whoever is doing a great job, right? So I think that has also helped me in my career. I think, yeah, I mean, these are the few things. And when you travel, it's not just about beating just for conferences. Other than the conferences, it's more like you are understanding their culture, you are understanding humans. I think that's also one of the things. And one of the moment in my life that is stuck in my brain is like when I traveled to New York. I think back in 2020, 2021, I was standing in middle of the Times Square, and then I saw this quote that, hey, we think that if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere in the world. And that is like, boom, stuck in my head that, okay, if I can make it here, I can literally make it anywhere. I can literally do anything in this world, right? So yeah, I mean, these were the few moments. Again, it's not just a single journey, it's not just a single point in your life, it's all about the journey, right? So my journey has been really incredible, and I've learned a lot from my journey.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I completely agree on being in a startup and like there's so much pressure coming out of university or college, or even if you don't go, just working at a really top like graduate scheme or get it. And to be honest, you're going to end up being a small cog. Yes, you've got you've got the badge that you worked at whatever big company, but when you actually truly work in a startup and you get your hands dirty with having to build lots of different stuff, juggle lots of different stuff, it is a baptism of fire. And you're going to have so much responsibility. You're going to learn very quickly what you do and don't like. And it's something that, if you want to be in Web3, it's critical because that's what everyone's doing. Even the largest players, they're teams of like 70, like Aave, for example. Like they're all basically startups. So you've got to think in that mentality when you're in this industry all the time. And yeah, I mean, getting to that Polygon job, that's a cool step up. And a lot of that, as you mentioned, was about building in public, the research that you had, going into that role, showing your passion and curiosity. So critical thing that then led to an outcome. And then lastly, events and kind of, I really think in DevRel, and this comes down to anything. If you're even with our company, we have global people from all around the world. From most people, top is US. We have people from India. Then we have people from the likes of UK, France, and everyone's got different needs. Now, if you're able to understand those different needs and understand first principles, what it means to be a US user, to be a Nigerian user, then you're solving a truly massive problem for that end person. But until you go to those places, until you speak to those people, you're never going to know. So I love that story from being in Times Square because it's super true, and you're going to be able to solve a lot of things for many people and build better solutions. Cool. Well, yeah, it's the last question, really. I know we've gone over by about 15 minutes, so I appreciate you hanging around, Uttam. What's your advice for aspiring tech professionals in Web3? Do you have anything to leave with? We've already said quite a few, so anything left?
Yeah, I think you already just mentioned like build in public. If you're a dev, contribute to open source project. If you are like trying to get into marketing, growth, and all that like non-tech jobs, then understand crypto Twitter, understand how things work. Again, making sure that your basics are clear. Very important in this industry to being technical and understanding whatever is going on, right? And also good for like building a long-term career. So yeah, I think these are the few things that I just already mentioned in this whole podcast. So you can go and listen to those again. But yeah, that's all. I don't have anything else. Just thanks to you. Thanks for inviting me. And then Merry Christmas to everyone. Just don't take pressure, enjoy the holidays, and just get out there, get with your family.
Definitely, yeah. You can take the time off, think about your next chapter of 2025, and all of you to smash your career for the next year. So Uttam, what a way to kind of end this one and start the new one. And congrats on your role at Alchemy. I'm sure you're going to smash it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dan.
All right. Well, cheers, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks to all the community, all the questions. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.